Morning. Good morning. Hi, Dave.
G'day, how are you?
Long time no see.
As always.
I'm okay. I just got up like an hour ago. Well,
At 11 p.m.
insomnia.
10 p.m.
What?
At 10 p.m. your time.
Yeah, 9:30-ish. Yeah.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Hi, Donna. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Oceans. Hi, Anita. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Francie friend. Thank you for the super sticker. Cynthia, the third root, you are my sunshine. Debs, Adrian, you don't own me. You are my sunshine. I already said. Susanna, one hell of a night. Annie, Debs, Hope, welcome. Good to see you all here. Craftastic, of course. Who else do we have here? It's always the same people in chat. That's kind of nice. Beachy D, Michelle. Donna, already said. Geraldine, Tiger Girl, hi. Sharon, hi, welcome. Jock Girl, Lisa. Bobby Comps, Bethy. Is it Bethy or is it Betty? Bethy, right? TH. Janice. Lisa. Angie. Camilla. Camilla, are you from Sweden? Nikki. Kathleen. Oh my God, so many. Mrs. Lee Hughes. Oh, that last name sounds familiar to me. Monica, hi. Mark, hello. Kelly, Kay, Misty, stop trafficking? Yep. Okay, I think I did not. BLN, Margarita, Night Owl, Mariposas, Jen, Penny, Oh my God, so many in here. I hope I did not forget. April, Met secret weapon. If I spelled that right. Geisy. Many in chat. Now I get all hate emails again. Maureen, hi. Karen, Misty. Oh my God, so many people. Now I get all hate emails again. Oh, why are you naming everybody and say hello? That's so boring. Yeah, this is how I roll. Tony, hi. Hi, Catherine C. Hi, Stefan. All right, what are we gonna do today? I'm gonna present or read out loud another letter from Chris. He had been sending to God knows who. I don't see who he is sending it to in his own handwriting, which is very hard to read for me. In June or July 2020. If you guys, some of you guys were in my live chat stream yesterday when I read out the letter he sent to, or he wanted to be read out at the graveside for Shanann, Bella, Cici, and Nico. Hi, Lavender Blue. And today I wanted to do like a little comparison. I know that the author, Mrs. Cadle, is not, very well liked in the community, but I just want you guys to put that aside. And I just want to show you and discuss that he had not changed his mind from basically saying in December 2018 there were evil forces. Hi, KH. KH, I sent Don the link, but he wasn't online, so maybe he's asleep. He's been working all night with me, so I hope he's still joining when he sees the message. Yeah, so he maintained what he wrote in his letters. And the question I ask myself is, does he say those things because people telling him? Or does it really trigger his memory loss? Right? Because as we know, many people approach him, send him letters, stuff like that. And if you tell him, well, you didn't do this, or, Shanann did it, or whatever, right? We know that he goes with everything he's basically hearing from the outside. He goes with that confession. He goes with that dream of that girl from the UK. He goes basically with everything. So let's just discuss this. And I'm trying to figure out if he really does suffer from memory loss, or if there's truly something to it, right? So what I'm gonna do is I just read it out loud. Dave, if you want to say something, you can. Now you have the chance. Speak now or stay quiet forever. Dave, did I lose you? Oh, Dave is gone. Okay. Then I wait a second for him to join back in. Ah, there he is. I lost you.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I
I
was
just said if you,
getting an echo at my end, so I just thought I'd go out and come back in.
yeah. I was just saying, do you want to say something to this before I start?
No, not really. Just I'm quite happy to sit back and listen, and then we can have a bit of a discussion about this and a number of things afterwards. I think that would be a really good way to go, and I'll just sit back, listen, and
Okay.
and listen to you.
Yeah. So for everyone who saw my live stream last night, he is, as you can see or hear in that letter, I sometimes thought people are putting the words into his mouth, but he describes things only he can know, right? So let's hear this. When I met Nikki, I didn't know I was unhappy. But she asked all those questions that brought it out of me. She sought me out. She got plenty of attention in the office, but her aim was set on me. Even showing her a picture of my kids and letting her know I was married. There you go. She knew he was married. And that's also a thing, you guys. He never mentions that he told her they were going through a separation. He never did mention that, actually. Did not, I cannot read that, her efforts. She asked questions about my marriage that no one else did. I opened up. I opened up and confided in her. The first of many mistakes. In my heart, I feel like she had something to do with this tragedy. I know that evidence points to Shanann hurting the girls, and then I retaliated. But I don't see it. The way Nikki looked at me when I walked out of sentencing, like she smiled like, gotcha. The discovery shows she called Jim constantly before me and after me, yet she says Jim didn't know him. So that's true because we see or we hear in the phone interviews of Kobach. Yeah, it was Kobach and her. When Kobach says, who's that man together with you at the sand dunes, right? And she says, well, it's just a friend. And she always says they don't know each other. So they do know each other, right? This is at least what I'm reading out here. You know, she calls him constantly before and after, calls Jim constantly before and after calling Chris. And yet she says Jim didn't know him. The 110-minute conversation on August the 12th is still a blur. She texted me the entire way out to the oil field site on August the 13th. And this is also what Dave can say. It's that is right. I can't even speak anymore because he also told us that he wants to know where are all these text messages.
That is
Right?
100% correct, everybody.
So he wants to know why are they not shown? And she sent him text messages. I mean, that's probably the reason his phone records were never been made public, you know, and we still have to learn yet what the bombshell information was. She texted me the entire way out to the oilfield site on August the 13th. This may sound crazy, but I think I was hypnotized. How else does a person go from loving his family to the tragedy of August the 13th? I see those events over and over again. My memory has not shifted. It felt like I had no control, like a plan was hatched, and I was the person in a bigger scheme. And this is very interesting. Don't you think, Dave? He is saying he feels like he had no control of what is happening, like a plan was hatched, and he was the person being part of a bigger scheme.
Absolutely. As I have said many, many, many times, there are some things that occurred that morning that had never occurred on many, many other mornings. And one was NK not ringing Chris. And the other one, I'm sorry to say it, but why did Sandy ring the school at 8 o'clock in the morning? So there are things happening that I don't believe Chris is actually even aware of.
Yeah. I find this, I mean, I find, let's say, 50% interesting of this letter because he maintained those statements till
Correct.
today,
Correct.
right? So he never really confessed to anything. When they've been to Wisconsin, um, he said, I just wanted to get over, and just told them what they want to hear. Hence, he repeated that dream that girl sent him in a mail or in a letter. So this is, on one side, I do believe that his memory is lost, and we were talking about trauma yesterday. And on the other hand, I still feel like he just needs to be put under pressure to finally tell the truth. Although I never saw it with my own eyes, it came out later that she was into some dark things. The stones, and I can't read that, sorry. And he also puts not sure how to spell it. She took a stone with her on a camping trip, and this is how she represents her grandma. In the discovery, she was looking up things that were going through my mind. Did she put those thoughts there? I go over it all the time and in my mind. It felt like I was hunted like prey. She found someone broken and this devoured me whole. I don't know if she was in that house that morning. Then I'm sorry guys, this is so hard to read. Then my mind has been blocked. You want me to tell the truth and not to cover for anyone, but the only truth I know is that I feel like I did this. But it doesn't make any sense. Bella's injuries to her lip would have caused a lot of blood. No blood anywhere. Shannon's injury shows no intent and no broken bones, and I had no defense wounds on me. That's crazy. She was a fighter, and I wouldn't be able to hold her down. If there was anyone else in my house that morning, it's just blur. Where does it go? I wouldn't be able to hold her down. No chance. When I woke up that morning, I felt like I was in a trance. Put clothes on that were old and didn't fit and didn't mind throwing away. So, this tells us something, you guys. He woke up in the morning, or what I believe, he never even slept, because I think he just got home at 4:23. He purposely put on old clothes, stuff he did not mind to throw away. So, is he right, and was there a plan? Did they tell him, or did they, conspire to say, oh, wear old clothes? Is that the reason why he was looking so nervous when Baumhofer found that blue bag? Were there things in that blue bag other people involved wore that night or that morning? This is why he was looking so anxious, like, oh my God, please don't pull that stuff up. And none of these clothes were taken into evidence. Put clothes on that were old and didn't fit and didn't mind throwing away. Made my lunch and went back upstairs, which is not true because no stairs climbed. I felt compelled. I battle with this all the time. So many voices have been in my ear telling me I didn't do this. So, what does he mean with voices? Does he mean other people from the outside, or does he mean actual voices? And that Shanann did this. If she did, then I have no recollection of it. CBI Tammy Lee put that scenario in my head, and I went with it. I'm not sure what is the complete truth, other than I felt like I was under some sort of compulsion. That is why I suspect Nikki and Jim being there and involved. but I can't prove it. If I could prove it, then it would show no intent and my sentence would be drastically reduced. But it doesn't change the fact that I believe my hands did this. The brokenness I fight every day, and God is there to help me. God is there to help me. Not only God, but my family. Um, I know the love that is in my heart to care for those in need, and it brings me to my knees in disbelief that I am here. So that was the letter. And like I said, he's maintaining that version up until today.
I believe many parts of that letter.
Absolutely. Yeah. The fact he even mentions Jim is suspicious. He's supposedly in, yeah, absolutely, Private Eye. Absolutely. They've been together on that camping trip. And yet, NK is saying he doesn't know him. He's just a friend. He was there Monday and Tuesday, right? So, very, very, very
Well, he
suspicious.
took their photos.
He took their photos, right? Mm-hmm.
Correct. And she
Yes, he
admits
said
that he
Jim.
was there. She admits Jim was at the camping trip. She actually admits it in her interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then she goes on to say, leave him alone, leave him out of it.
Yeah, but we don't know if they actually spoke to him,
No, we don't.
and never made it public.
Correct.
What I found suspicious is shortly after, um, in her phone records, she tries to call him like constantly, always goes to voicemail. He is completely distancing from her up until, I believe it was end of September, start of October. So he's not returning her calls. Was it because, he thought, oh, I might lay low now? Or was it because he was shocked that, she had an affair? But I don't believe that either because he was with them on that sand dunes trip.
He certainly
So
was.
he was with them on that sand dunes trip. So him being shocked that they had an affair and stuff like that, no. And as he says in his letter, he did not know he was unhappy until she basically spoke and asked him so much about his marriage that he had second thoughts.
And maybe Jim was thinking if their phones were tapped and he wasn't going to answer the calls, no matter, because there might have been things that they might have said to each other on the phone.
Yeah, but then why would he return her calls in October and so on and so on?
Because time has passed.
Yeah, but he wasn't sentenced and
Yeah,
it wasn't made public that he took the deal.
that's correct. But we all know on August the 23rd, a deal was actually already struck. But we know this, okay? We know this now that a deal had pretty much already been struck from August the 23rd onwards when Chris's attorney went to the DA with the actual plea deal 8 days after Chris's arrest, which shows to me that his attorney didn't do anything to actually help Chris in any way, shape, or form. But because why would you come up with a plea deal before any evidence has even been sought?
Right. I mean,
So
he said to his defense, well, he said that he told his defense everything. So how can he tell his defense anything if his memory is blurred?
correct, he
And
can't do it.
also, he told us that when he went out of the sentencing and he saw her and she smirked at him, Like, he said, I want to go back. I want to go back to the judge. I want to put this right.
That's correct. And his defense attorney said, no, it's too late. It's all over.
Sorry, I did not understand what you were
And his
saying.
defense attorney said, it's too late. It's all over.
Yeah, but he has like, I believe it's 30 days.
He had 45 days after
Or
that point
45.
to actually appeal. But I don't think he was actually probably ever told that by his defense attorney. That's just my opinion. I can't verify that, but I doubt that his defense attorney would have actually informed him of it. Although it was all read out in court by Judge Kopkow, I don't think Chris was actually listening to what he was agreeing to. That's the whole. And I don't think he understood the ramifications of what he was actually agreeing to.
Right. Listen, I mean, does that happen? Jim suddenly appears and Shanann and her kids are deceased and Jim and Kay is involved. I just don't believe that I feel Watts alone did this. Yeah, I don't think they appeared suddenly. Because if you have seen when we did that Vivint motion sensor stream, he was on the phone with Vivint in June and July 3 times. And while on the phone with them, he's taken pictures of the layout of his basement. And, if I call because a garage door sensor or the key lock or keypad is broken, I'm not in my basement taking pictures of my basement. I'm up there taking probably pictures of that keypad. So I don't think the reason he's calling Vivint was to get a new keypad or a new sensor or whatever was broken. So I believe from, reading that and putting the pieces together, I believe a plan was hatched like in June, July, maybe even earlier. Because like you said, Dave, when we listened to Anthony Brown's interview,
Correct.
he said he saw them two in the hallway very close to each other months ago.
5 months ago, he
Five
said.
months ago. So that would be
April.
April.
Just after she started working there. She started there in March.
Right. And do you guys think that he was sought out? I mean, like he explains in his letter, she had plenty of, attention. And even his coworkers agree to that because they say, like, when she walked into the breakfast room, everybody was looking at her and stuff like that, but she wanted him.
Yep, she certainly did. She had her eyes on him. Let's all go back to 3rd of August 2017. 1 year and 10 days before the actual event of August the 13th. Nicole Kessinger Googles and looks up Shanann Watts. First, not Chris. She looks up Shanann. Then looks up Chris on the 1st of September. I believe in my heart of hearts she was placed into the position she was to then basically be infiltrated into Chris Watts' life at a later date. And that
Yes.
happened to be March 2018.
17. Or you're talking about, yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. She sought out Shanann first.
Correct.
So let's have a little recap on what happened from January 2017. And I need your help there, Dave, because you're good with dates, up until the first search of August the 3rd. What happened this year that um that justifies you saying Shanann was sought out? And yeah, why did she look for or search for Shanann first?
Well, there is a live stream that I'm going to have planned. I'm planning on with you to discuss something that we came across recently. And it's a screenshot of something that Shanann was admitting. And it was dated March the 2nd, 2017.
Right.
Now, at the time, I believe NK was very active on Facebook way back in 2017. Sorry, Nikki Kessinger was well active on Facebook. She may well have come across Shanann in some of these groups because Shanann was in many, many groups,
Oh yeah.
and Chris Watts worked at Anadarko. He was in the oil field. She was in the oil fields. She was like, associated with oil companies.
Oh yeah, I
As in
definitely
Nick,
believe that she saw him before somehow, somewhere.
absolutely. And there's rumors. I mean, I'm not a fan of turning rumors into facts, but there are rumors that they all met on July 4, 2017. There were actually rumors out there at a fire at something to do when there was fireworks and everything, and NK and Chris and Shanann and was all to do with Anadarko or something, and they all met. So if that's the case, the August the 3rd search for Shanann makes sense. At a barbecue. There you go. People are putting it in at the barbecue.
Yeah.
But I am adding, they are rumors.
Yeah, we don't really know where they met.
Correct.
But I do see her, delete your Facebook, delete all social media. She told him. Why? And people say it's a typo. No, it's not a typo. Because how can she look up Shanann in 2017 and that technician is going accordingly? And people are saying that was the phone of a co-worker she got, and that former co-worker was searching Shanann on his phone, and all kinds of bullshit people make up.
This was her phone. Her,
Absolutely, she did not even have a work phone.
correct. This was her own personal phone. This is what people need to realize. This was her phone. And you made a very good point yesterday during one of our phone conversations. You made a great point to me where you were questioning there's things that NK was asking Chris, and it helped him realize that his marriage was in turmoil. How would NK be smart enough to know all the right things to ask Chris unless she hadn't been researching Shanann
And their lives.
and their entire life? Because Chris said that there is no way in the um, world he would have realized how bad his marriage was until NK started saying all the right things.
Yeah, I can
How
read
would
that
she
again to
know
you.
what those right things were?
Yeah, he's saying, I didn't know I was unhappy, but she asked all those questions that brought it out of me. She sought me out. She got plenty of attention in the office, but her aim was set on me. Even showing her a picture of my kids and letting her know I was married did not, I can't read that, her efforts. She asked questions about my marriage that no one else did. I opened up and confided in her, the first of many mistakes.
Yeah, it's out of. There's just something completely. With something we're really missing. There has to be a link. There has to be something because she knew far too much about them. Like somebody has fed her information, quite possibly, about
Right.
these two people.
Yeah. And what I also noticed, she basically, so talking about NK, she basically knew everything and liked everything he liked. And to be honest, you guys, I mean, uh, this would be too much of a coincidence if you find a partner or somebody who does like exactly everything you like. Mustangs, races, healthy living or eating or losing weight, all that stuff. She liked everything he liked, and she brought that up to him. Oh, come on, I'm doing your diet plan. Oh, let's go to the museum. Oh, let's go to this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Right? So she had to have some knowledge of his life and what he liked.
Yes, absolutely. Like the things she knew. It's oh, there's something. There's something missing.
So in my
Absolutely
head,
missing.
there are two scenarios. Either she was placed there for some reason and we did not find the link yet. Um, and then she really probably fell in love with him. I don't know. Or she saw Shanann somewhere, maybe, during a Thrive thing or at that barbecue or some work related stuff. And then she was looking into her Facebook and finds out all these things.
Yeah, and the thing that we're going to discuss, it involves some things from Shanann's past. And
Yes.
the big thing about that is if you happen to be in the same sort of a group, you could then see, well, so Chris has done this and Shanann's done that. Okay, well, perhaps, he really isn't happy. So that could be my way in.
Right. I mean, he definitely, according to this letter, and I wouldn't give a toss, you know, about it when he had changed his mind, but he maintains that opinion because this is all he remembers, right? And he
Yeah.
always has that feeling, even though he claims memory loss of some sort, but he always has the feeling this wasn't me. Maybe it was me. I feel like I did this, but then questions why? Why would I do this? And saying I chose my family. That night I chose my family. This is another thing that kind of fits. I don't even believe that he believes he did that. But what chance, and I'm not saying he's lying, it could be that he suffers from total memory loss. But what chance do you have to prove that? Right? What chance do you have to prove somebody else was in my house? There was a plan and we just carried it out.
But we're doing that. See, right now, you and I and Don are actually, we're providing enough evidence that a real defense attorney would have lapped up, eaten up, have investigated themselves with proper special, with real specialists, and there would have been enough reasonable doubt, in my opinion, clearly, that Chris didn't act alone.
Definitely.
So even without naming people, you wouldn't have to name anyone. You could just, based on all the data that we actually have and the evidence of him walking around out serving, but not, and making all of those phone calls and sending text messages, but not climbing stairs, okay, is proof he had his phone with him the whole time, or someone had his phone with him the whole time that didn't climb stairs.
Yes. And
And
also,
there's, sorry,
just
keep going.
to just to say something about that phone. Somebody sent me a message saying there are rumors that he did not have his phone on him because of the fumes of the hatches. And that's the reason why he did not climb any stairs, because he left his phone in the truck. Well, I can debunk that right then and there, because even though he had no flights climbed, he still had movement on his phone. So it's not possible. It is absolutely not possible to not climb stairs, but have movement on your phone and still be up there putting your children in there, right? So that, and they also are equipped with gas monitors and stuff like that. So absolutely not because of the fumes. That would be even more reason to believe that the kids went in those tanks on Tuesday night.
Yeah, absolutely. And because you look at, like, at Luke Apple, Luke Apple is, those of you who aren't aware, it was Chris Watts' immediate boss. And Luke Apple, in the drone footage, you actually see him, everybody, up there with probably a law enforcement officer. They go up to the tanks, and you see them clearly in the drone footage that Luke's up there. Now, I would be certain 1000% Luke Apple had his phone in his pocket.
Yes, they describe in the discovery, and I don't know who went up with him. I think it was Baumhofer, but I'm not sure. It's too long ago since I read that. Um, and the detective or agent actually asks Luke Apple, "What are we gonna do because of the flashes of the phone?" And Luke Apple states, "Well, field operator back in, I think, 2019 it was. And you open those hatches, it's highly flammable, that's true, but then that's it, right? The fumes come up and they just go away. So what Luke Apple actually states is, it's safe and fine. He has his gas monitor, as long as you're not taking any pictures with flash. Same as gas stations. You shouldn't be, taking or making any phone calls or pictures at gas stations. It's the same thing, basically.
Correct. So I would have imagined Luke definitely had his phone with him in his pocket. So there is no reason
The
why.
agent had, because they took pictures of the hatches.
They did. So to say that he didn't have his phone up there because of the fumes is definitely false information.
Yeah, I mean, it is true that those fumes are highly flammable, and you got to be careful with phones and all that. But certainly not in this case, because he had no flights climbed, but steps and movement at that time throughout. So him not going up those stairs, the phone not registering any flights climbed, but having steps is impossible.
And making all
Absolutely
those phone
impossible.
calls and sending text messages and doing everything else that he was doing as well. And apparently burying Shanann and disposing of two little girls, and according to the Wisconsin interview, killing his little girls out at Survey. So
Right.
when does when does he have time to do any of this? That's the bit that doesn't add up. And also the other bit that doesn't uh, add up is between you. Let's just go back to January of 2017.
Me too,
At
Ginger
that
tea.
time, everybody, we had um, Shanann's parents living in Colorado, and they were there until May or thereabouts, 2017. They were living there, so you know, who knows? Well, I do know that there was definitely lots of arguing going on between Shanann and her parents, and I know that for a fact. There
I
was,
thought that was arguments between Shanann and her mom.
yes, yeah, and her dad was there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and at that time as well, Shanann and Sandy weren't even friends on Facebook, and they were living together, which is very interesting. So at the at that time, not long after that as well, like I've said, NK searches Shanann. So there's all this other things going on privately in the Watts home, but there was also other things actually happening that all led towards the horrible day on August the 13th, 2018. Was like something was put in place in some way, shape, or form. And that's just an opinion, not a fact.
Um, that's why I think it's possible when he says I don't remember, it's really I don't know. Because he wasn't present for everything that happened, but he was involved, in my opinion. Yes. Yes. I think that too.
Yeah, well, let's go back to the cooler and the blankets getting loaded.
Yeah.
Let's go back to on the Tuesday. Let's talk about Chris answering the question that we had asked of him. And it was one of the questions. And the one thing he kept going back to was he was going out to see his girls.
Yeah.
That was the answer. So why did you load those into the Lexus? I was going out to see my girls.
Right. I think that this other stuff, I believe, but that's just my personal opinion. I believe that this other stuff was prepared, like that water cooler, that gray cooler, and the backpack. And he didn't get round to put this into the truck or the Lexus because this other officer who basically watched him was also saying or stating that he did drive down the road. They asked him on that day to put his work truck down the road so it wouldn't interfere with the dogs, which he did. And then the officer states that he observed him getting into the Lexus, driving down the road, stops at his work truck, and starts loading and reloading different things into different vehicles. So, stuff from his work truck into the Lexus and vice versa. So, what he basically, yeah, I totally believe that that was the reason he wanted to go back to work on Wednesday, and his boss told him no.
Yep. And when NK's talking to um, Detective, a CBI agent, Kevin Kovac, she actually talks about constantly about going back to work, always wanting to go back out there. She didn't want to lose a job. There was, did she have unfinished business somewhere out there that she needed to complete?
Right.
I don't
I
know.
mean, right. Another thing that's appears weird to me. I don't know if anyone feels the same, but um, if you go through his geotab data, I mean, we don't have everything, but we have all July, part of June and August. And only once he was out on the service side. Once. This was not his typical area he was working. So,
Correct. But in the
um,
significant locations, sorry, in the significant locations, both phones connected that day.
yes,
Okay, the earlier time he went there, both phones were located in Roggan at the exact same time. But
right,
on August the 13th, they are separate.
right. So when he was there once, like you said, Dave, both phones and Geotab log the exact same time.
Correct.
Like, let's say he arrived in the Roggen area by, let's say, just 9:30. Geotab logs that. Also, the significant locations on both phones log that.
Correct.
So, what I was wondering is, why would he go there when this was not his usual place to work at?
Correct.
He was only there once, months ago.
July the 3rd, I think, was the date.
July the, yeah, could be right.
I'm thinking off the top of my head. I may be wrong, but I think it was July the 3rd.
It was either June 27th or July 3rd. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometime there. But yeah, that's what I found odd. And then going to Survey 319, and I've been looking on Google Maps a little bit for that, and I think I found the reason why. Some people might think I'm crazy, but when you
We
look
all
at
do.
his what?
We all do think you're crazy, but it's all good.
Yeah, I can live with that. I'm just brain farting.
Yes, that's right.
Um, so the area he was working at, close to the Safeway Fort Lupton area, there was no dump sites. Okay, there was no place where he would be wouldn't be spotted by somebody. If you look at Google Maps and zoom into this area, there are like restaurants, there's highways, there's highway maintenance stations,
A
there's all
safe
sorts
way.
of stuff, there's everything, right? um at Survey it's quite the opposite. You get into Survey and then there's this huge dump site with shipping containers, with old metal, wood, god knows what they have stored there. It's just, I think it's a storage thing for dismantling or building oil tanks. I'm no expert at all, but this is what I see. So this might be a reason that they chose the service side. I could be totally wrong, but I'm just going with what I see on Google Maps, and I did not see anywhere where he could hide somebody or it would just be too obvious. And I also went along the sites with in Fort Lupton on Street View, and the at different times of the day, and the amount of people on the roads is like crazy. So I think it could be, yeah, and I'm just talking out of my head, the reason that they chose Survey 319.
Well and truly, I can't disagree with you there, because there the you spotting and having a look at, and pretty much coming across this yourself, following that little yellow line of Chris's, it's out next to Survey 1029, which was the yellow line. Everybody in the geotab was Chris drove um, out of Survey 1029 and went round something. And TJ needed to go and find out what the hell this something was, because Chris didn't stop his truck when he did this. So it was like a circular motion. He went out, around, and then came back to Survey 1029. Yet none of his co workers stated that he actually left the site, and we don't know what time of day this actually transpired when he did this drive around. All it is showing us is that was where he actually went at some stage throughout the day. And as it turns out, he drove around a dump site. For those of
Right.
you, and because Tanya went onto Google Maps and looked down, and you can clearly see shipping container and all this other rubbish. And it's probably half the size of a football field in America. If you know what a football field is, or a soccer pitch, or something similar, it's about half the size, but it's enough room to store a shipping container.
There are
And
6 or 7
yeah, so
on
it
that
might be
site.
a bit bigger than a footy field, all right, than half a field. But the thing is, he went round that, and I would imagine quite slowly. And
Um, I have to say, Geotab does not register. Um, when they do register idling or stuff like that. I have to go back and look at it, but I hope this makes sense what I'm saying now. They do only register stops when you actually turn off the um
engine,
the truck. Yeah.
yep,
So he could have very well circled the area, right? Um, being there for letting the engine run, and just walking back. That could be, because we gotta keep in mind this guy, Watts, he knows about this stuff. He knows all about Geotab. He knows that everything is being recorded, right? So why would he that stupid to turn off his engine walking over there? Because then they would clearly have an alert, and police would also have looked at this. My opinion.
yes, but as we know, they give us Troy McCoy's entire geotab of getting out to Survey,
Mm-hmm.
but they do not give us Chris Watts's arrival at Survey 319. All they give us is the time his truck got there.
Yeah.
They do
Yes, it
not give
does.
us a flight path, so to speak, of
Right.
the entire travel
Mm-hmm.
once he reached Roggan. Where did Chris go to? Where did the truck go to when it reached Roggan and came into Keensburg and was going to the Survey sites? It only
Right.
shows us him driving his vehicle's movements once he reached Survey 319.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not giving us where his vehicle was prior to driving into Survey 319?
Right.
We
Because they
know,
didn't want to give it to
yep, and
us.
we know Troy McCoy, and we know for an absolute fact that Troy McCoy completely lied to the police when he said he was at the office waiting for his burrito. We know
Well,
that
according to his geotab, he wasn't.
he was
But we
not
don't
at
know
the
if
office.
he was walking over there.
Very true. His car, okay, his work truck again was at
But he says,
103 County Road North, mile marker 25, which is the location of a massive tool shed used by Anadarko employees. The
yeah,
same tool shed, what they call the Bat Cave, that Melissa Parrish and also Chad McNeil went to after they left the office. So after Troy left at 7:44 a.m. roughly, and it took him an hour and 7 minutes to actually make it to the service site after leaving the Batcave. They arrived at the Batcave after Troy, according
yeah.
to their statements.
I
How could
mean,
they arrive at Survey before Troy if they left 15 minutes after Troy?
yeah, that's true. But he did make a quite a ride, all the way around and stuff like that. But
But they officially arrived 25 minutes before Troy. That is mathematically impossible.
yes, but then on the other hand, Dave, we don't have any data because one says
Correct.
we arrived at 8, the other one says it was about 8:30. So,
Correct.
who knows when they really truly arrived.
One
And
said they saw Chris, one said they didn't.
yeah. What was weird to me though was Troy McCoy said in his interview he was meeting up with his team, but none of his team actually saw him in
Correct.
the office.
Yep.
I mean, we don't know if anyone saw him. At least they did not mention seeing him.
But both of them, both of those employees happened to call back the police after they spoke with Troy McCoy on the 16th of August.
Right.
They
See you later,
actually
Anita.
altered their statements after contacting Troy.
Yeah, that's true.
To match Troy's.
Yeah, and why would Troy say, "Oh, you gotta call back"? Kind of like, you gotta let police know that he wore old clothes
Correct.
and baggy clothes. And Chris says in the letter, "I don't know why I put old clothes on."
That's right.
I mean, was Troy his personal wardrobe organizer so he would know what is old and what's not?
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable.
It's just weird. Not saying, he knew anything or whatever, but there are just things that just don't fit.
Yep. And neither of us have ever said the employees are responsible for murdering anyone. All we have ever done is questioned why are they lying? Why are they lying?
I mean,
That's
there's a fine line of, you know, if somebody would ask me, what did you do in April 2017 on the 19th? I would say, oh my God, you have a slight memory of what you did, but I don't think there's just some people, they mix up times all the time, and it's not suspicious to me. Like,
yes, but it's a significant day.
it's a significant day, and why saying I was driving and Chris called me, so I had to pull over because Geotab registers the calls. But at
Yes,
that time when Chris called, he wasn't even driving.
correct.
And this is just little things that just just doesn't make sense. Can you excuse me 1 second, please,
Yep,
Dave?
sure. You're right. It's not an ordinary day. The day was definitely significant. You know, and what people also don't realize, and a lot of people seem to forget, Chad McNeil had just been brought back from Texas to come and work. Everybody, he'd been there a week. Like he arrived back the Tuesday before the event. Melissa Parrish was a trainee, and she was driving out to that work site with Chad McNeil, but they were both in two different vehicles. And the thing that Melissa did was started work at exactly the same time within days that Nicole Kessinger started working at Anadarko, within days of each other. And Melissa Parrish, his boyfriend at the time, helped to get the job. Well, that boyfriend at the time, everybody, is now a husband. And that husband is an executive at Anadarko. Just thought I'd add that little bit in for a little bit of spice.
Right. Carrying a dead body is not a one-man job. Well, probably not, but they do reenactments, carrying dead body weight like they did in the Scott Peterson case. But you got to keep in mind that adrenaline, everything pumps through your body. So a human being can do incredible things under stress and under, a shot of adrenaline. So I wouldn't say that's definitely not a one man job to do. It always depends, in my opinion, on the situation and the mental state of that person doing it. There were women, lifting whole cars to get their kids out underneath. And, these are things, it all depends. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. And they all do those reenactments only with people who are like in the right state of mind, like no adrenaline or, no trauma or no whatever, right? So I would take that with a grain of salt.
Stefan, sorry, your comment. Chris Watts' truck was at Survey. Phone was at Survey. They were at Survey. Chris Watts wasn't. Everyone was there except for Chris. Chris was being instructed what to do next. That is very possible because it was at 9:30 a.m. Monday the 13th of August when both phones were joined together. Everyone?
Right. And keep in mind, the last time his personal phone connected was Sunday.
Yeah, connected to his home router was Sunday.
Sunday when he got home from that 111-minute phone call.
At 1:35 a.m., sorry, was the last time his phone connected, wasn't it?
Right. It did not connect
1:35
and
a.m.
reconnect. It did not reconnect and connect at all that
Correct.
day.
Until 2:07 p.m. when he walked in the door.
Yes, while his work phone did.
Correct.
So could he have forgotten his personal phone in somebody else's truck?
Very possible because it looks like Chris wasn't even in the house when Shanann got home. Because how the hell does somebody come back in and the first movement in the house is at 4:23 a.m. and it's the opening of the basement door?
Oh, I do believe he was in the basement
Yep.
and left at some point and came
Mm-hmm.
back, um, you know, came back
Where was he
through the
between
window.
2 o'clock and 4:23? There was no
Well,
movement in
between
the house. If there's no movement in the house, he didn't wake up at 4 o'clock with his alarm clock and go down the stairs like he actually Stacy did.
exactly. But when there was no movement from 1:48 till 4:26, which I just, let's say we believe this, right? That 1:48 she comes in, motion sensor is catching her. She had 3 flights of steps. So if she wasn't up there and did those 3 flights of steps within that up until 1:51, until her phone ceased activity, then she must have taken those flights of steps of stairs at the airport.
Correct. And many
And
people have said she probably did do that at the airport.
oh yeah, definitely possible. So when there was no movement from 1:48, I think that she went down in the basement, and within 3 minutes, this is where it all happened, because
Yes.
1:51, her phone ceased activity completely.
Correct.
So, and then she was taken out, probably. I don't know. I wasn't there. But since they say there was no movement on the main floor, if they had taken her out through the back door, or had taken anyone out through the back door, there would be a log in Vivint. Because they would have to go through the living room.
Yeah, irrespective.
So what could have happened is they take her out through the window, basement window,
Yep.
took her somewhere, because his phone does not connect anymore.
Correct.
So, and his work phone doesn't either until the morning. So I believe he had his phone on him, and he came back through the window. They took Shanann somewhere, and I'm just, thinking out loud. They took Shanann somewhere, came back through the window, and then he opened the basement door from coming up the basement. Opened the basement door,
Correct.
and then he starts loading shit in his truck.
Yep. And I can't see him dragging Shanann down the stairs
No.
when there's no movement.
It would have caught them. The motion sensor would have caught them.
Correct.
And let's be honest, he's claiming, although he's not climbing any stairs at home either, right? He claims he's going upstairs into the kids' bedrooms, smothers the kids, goes to Shanann, kills Shanann. The kids wake back up. He, in his first confession, he kills them again, or they were looked like they were under trauma. Loads them up, puts Shanann in this sheet, loads them up in his truck, drives away. And that all within, when did he come out? At
5:17. He initially walked. Well, no, he had already come out. He was already out there at 5:15. At 5:17.
5:15, he was sitting in his truck.
Correct.
So he had basically, a little bit more than 45 minutes to do all this. And cleaning up and getting the bed sheets off the bed and stuff like that. Does not make sense.
Alicia Marie, was Vivint actually messing up, or did Chris do it on purpose? Well, the thing is, if Chris did anything on purpose against Vivint in the system, it would have logged that activity into Shanann's phone.
Right.
Because Shanann was the one that got all notifications, all
Yep. Because
notifications
Vivint was tied.
associated with anything to
Yeah.
do with Vivint.
Yeah. Was tied to her email address. So
Correct.
that's why I'm thinking it is very much possible that he phoned them, right? When he was taking those pictures of the basement layout, he phoned
Yes.
them about the basement sensors or motion sensors. We don't know. And told them on the phone, "Oh, I have a problem. How do I do this and that without telling them do something, wireless, or don't do anything, I try myself." He wanted information of them. That's all he wanted. And he knew, because he states that Vivint is connected to Shanann's phone, Shanann's email in the discovery. He knew that. So what is he doing? He's calling them, asking them for advice without them doing anything.
Yes.
But obviously, he wasn't able to mess around with Vivint because they do have all those logs. Otherwise, they could not tell us, 427 or 423 or 426, your basement door opened.
That's correct. And there were, yes, Stefan, you're right. There are many times when the words they, us, them are used in the interrogation. You guys being
Yeah.
used by Coda.
Yeah.
Got
We
as in,
brought a shovel.
yeah,
I don't
we
think
brought a
that he
shovel,
meant
we
him
dug
and
a
his
hole,
girls.
we,
Yeah.
and you don't say we, everybody, if it's an I. I'm
Right.
sorry, you don't. And there is far too many we's and they's in this case.
Right.
Law enforcement know, others helped.
Oh, yeah.
They know.
Yeah. And to come back to his memory loss, it could be possible that he wanted to protect people involved at this time of the events. And while time went by, it is possible to have a blur or lose your memory due to trauma. This is possible.
It
So
is.
he's saying, if there is evidence, that I wish there would be evidence, because I don't remember.
Yeah, well, that's what he's saying. But the thing is, we have actually uncovered so much of it,
Yeah.
evidence that could support him that he didn't do this alone, or he possibly didn't do it, but he had knowledge of. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
He had knowledge of something was gonna happen.
Yes. I
All
believe
right,
so.
and that responsibility weighs heavily on his shoulders, and that's why he also says, "I feel like my hands did this," because he didn't stop it, and he is going to live with that for the rest of his life, no matter what. That he did not save his family.
Right. There are many
When he could have.
contradictions. I mean, he also says, when, I don't know who asked him that in Wisconsin, but he was asked, were her eyes like red or bloodshed? And he says no. And then they went further and when it came to him burying Shanann, he said, "Oh, and then this happened, what you just said." And the agent said, "What, you mean the eyes?" And yes, then she had bloodshot eyes, which is not possible. Medically not possible. Either you have bloodshot eyes or you don't. They just don't come after death, right?
Yep.
And the medical examiner also states no bloodshot eyes. So it doesn't go away. So indicated to me that he wasn't there when they buried her.
Please excuse me for a couple of minutes. I'll be right back.
Yes. Is it possible that with doorbell footage there was even time to move from door to basement? I mean, it says no movement, so would that not require movement? I don't understand what you mean. She walks in 148, and at this moment, the motion sensor locks an event as her walking into the door. So two different events, actually three different events. Her punching the key code in, her opening the door, and walking past that motion sensor. So that's actually three events. If that answers your questions. Uh, why not? Now you said it, now you gotta share it. Share it, share it. Everybody, guys, do you want Major McGee's to share the theory? You don't have to be afraid to say something here. You know, everybody is welcome here, and, you know, you can state your opinion if it's not like yesterday pushed onto somebody. So share it, please. Oh, in case you guys did not notice, I was rereading chat from last night, and the messages really went by quickly, so I lost overview. I put slow motion on, so everybody can only put messages in chat every 10 seconds. Not that you guys think somebody is timed out or something. So it's just the slow motion on so I can read. Because having a delay and then this stuff goes through so quickly just does my head in. So I thought I'm putting a slow motion on. So Major McGee's, we're waiting. Is it possible that Troy McCoy was aware of the same plan that they seduced CW with? He just didn't want to go down for that. My absolute honest opinion, I think he's a freak, and I don't see him having anything to do with anything. But that's just my personal opinion. If we had more, evidence, more data on him, then probably would change my mind. But from what we have, I don't see him, other than trying to be a little bit in the spotlight. No. Mm-mm. I just don't see it. What about the cabin? Well, we were figuring out, or I was trying to find out if there was any cabins around the area, and there are many abandoned 1800s houses, even an abandoned gas station in the Rogan area. There's a whole street abandoned. I think it's called, what's the street called? Is it View Street or Front Street or something? You can look it up on, if you go along on Street View, you can actually see it. But when I found that little circle, that changed my mind. So I don't think they were held in any kind of cabin or stuff like that. Do you think other Anadarko employees were involved? No. I have questions, But like I said, there's not enough evidence or data, or we don't have all this stuff. So from from the point of view I have now, I would say no, they weren't involved. But that's all just my personal opinion, you guys. It's not, a factor or something. I'm just saying there's not enough that we can incriminate somebody of them being involved. There were no stairs climbed on Monday morning, that CW's phone, because they were there, but the disposing of the bodies did not happen that morning. So it affirms the movement of the phone. Yep. Yep. So they were definitely not put in there. And I mean, I never been in that situation, but would you, all the adrenaline and all that stuff aside, would you put your kids in the truck, kill one, go upstairs, go back, kill the other one? No. Go back upstairs? I mean, that's time consuming. That's so time consuming, I would imagine, you know? And also, if it went down like he said it did, with killing Cece, Bella seeing everything, I mean, even a child, you would just run. You would try to get out of that truck. You would do something. You would not just sit there, because it's just our nature that we sense danger, and get scared. And this is what our system does with us. The danger and the danger mode, you get scared, you try to run away. And if you see something like that, and Bella was a pretty smart girl, I mean, I don't think she would have said, does the same thing happen to me than Cece? No, I don't see that. You would run. CW was threatened by gun to kill his kids on Saturday. He didn't, and they took the kids? Huh? Never heard anything of this.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm back, everyone. I'm just looking at Alicia again, just quickly. I want to know why the Watts made Chris write the letter, and a week later they are missing, and Cindy Watts was not worried.
Huh? Say that again.
I want to know why the Watts family made Chris write that letter, as in, his little letter he wrote, looking to Shanann if
Yeah.
something was to happen to him.
Well, um, how do I explain this? Do you want to say something first, Dave, to this?
I just want to say that I think it's looking to Shanann's past, in my opinion. And Chris wrote the letter. I mean, he wrote it. It was in his writing, you know? And yes, he may well have known something may have been going to happen in some way, shape, or form. But he was thinking of the worst case scenario in his head.
Mm-hmm. Um, I think and no offense to anyone, but I think she was totally, completely exaggerating with that nut stuff, in my personal opinion of what I observed and read. Um, and of course, he would have talked about this, or his family would have talked about this with him, right? So we got to keep in mind that she was totally going crazy. Shanann was. And I believe I read at some point even that the family said they were scared of her at that very moment. And I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I read. And in that situation, of course, as a parent, you would be worried, right? Because you think, oh my God, I don't know this person. And as far as we know, Shanann and Cindy had a very, very good relationship, right? She's rather stayed with them than at home.
Correct.
So, and then the family saying, you know what, write something because this is completely out of order. We don't know her reacting like that. What is going on? We're scared of her. Like she never reacted like this before, ever. What is going on? I think they have spoken with each other about the incident. And this is why they said, you know what, we don't know what's going on and what could happen. You know, it does not mean that has necessarily something to do with a plan. And if that even makes sense, what I'm saying, does not have necessarily something to do with a plan that was in place. And he wanted to incriminate Shanann in case it goes sideways. I think that that was two completely different events. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys see that, but yeah.
And I think it was a complete over exaggeration
Yes.
in regards to the nut thing. A complete and utter over exaggeration. And I think Shanann was looking for a mum's approval again in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the family dynamics back then, so I cannot comment on that. But what you, to her defense, I mean, um, she went through a lot in North Carolina, you know, and as he stated in his letters, you, what did he say? I something along those lines. Um, you tried to prove me that you love me, and I didn't see it back in North Carolina, right? So just walk a meter in Shanann's shoes. The pressure and the mind fuck and all that she went through. I think that Nutgate stuff was just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
You know, if
absolutely.
you're under constant pressure, not knowing what's going on. I mean, of course she had her flaws too, right? Telling this person one story and a totally different story another person. Who doesn't? Right? I mean, but if you take everything into consideration of what, and we don't even know half of it. Yeah, I cussed. Sorry. But not at somebody. um,
No, not like me, where I just go straight at people.
yeah. Now YouTube is gonna make me put that
I'm a
video
bad
from
influence
over
on
18
Tanya,
again.
everyone.
What?
I'm a bad influence on Tanya.
No, you're
Blame
not.
Dave.
I'm not letting myself influence from anybody.
Good.
Absolutely no way. I always have my own thoughts and own mind.
You do.
Um, yeah, just take that into consideration. Same with Chris. Same thing. He was also under a lot of pressure. He tried to hide stuff in front of his wife. That makes you also, you know, messed up in your head. They were both under pressure. And, you know, to go back to Shanann, I think that was the tip of the iceberg for her to totally freak out. And in that situation, um, yeah, I see why somebody would freak out. And like I said, we don't know everything, right? We don't know what's really been said. We don't know what went on in Shanann's family with her. We don't know what pressure she got from Thrive. We don't know what pressure she got from her parents, her friends, or whatever. We just don't know these things to make a complete analysis of the events and her feelings and her mental state.
Oh my goodness, Lisa Donahue has joined your channel. Now, yes, she's a mod, but she does not join channels. She's been a member of mine, and now she's a member of yours. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Welcome.
Wow.
Da, 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 da.
You're doing something right.
I'm doing something right. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Financial pressure, pregnancy. Yeah, talking about financial pressure, I still don't know where the 10 grand went. I want to know so bad.
That 10 grand will answer so many questions,
Yeah,
everyone.
like I said to you, if we find those 10 grand, we have our answers.
Yes, we do.
To come back to that Troy McCoy at Survey in the morning, um, Melissa Parrish was also there, and she was a rookie.
And she went out there on Tuesday to inspect the leak if the leak had been fixed. I mean, she was a trainee. She had no
Mhm.
place to go out there Tuesday. None whatsoever, everyone.
Yeah,
None. It was not her job at all to inspect anything.
yeah. I saw a message.
And Doggy Master 2017,
That's exactly what I was looking for.
you are on the money. I'll let TJ talk to everyone about this because this is this is, I believe, TJ's possible form and cause of death is chloroform.
Mm.
Overdosing, accidental deaths.
Um, what can I say to this? I was having that in my head um about knocking somebody out because back then, I think it was in 2018 or 2019, early 2019. Um, I was thinking, would she go will if that was a kidnapping, let's say. This I'm just telling you what my thought process was. If that was a kidnapping, would she go willingly with her hijackers? Talking about Shanann and the girls. Then I thought, mm, probably not, because we know she would have fought, especially, a mother fights for her children, obviously. Then I was thinking or researching what could you knock out a person that is hardly to detect in blood, in bones, or in any kind of tissue. So, um, I was contacting a few, 6 in total, medical examiners here in my town. We have a massive university for medical, and they all said the same thing. Basically, they cannot make conclusions if they did not see the report, right? Which I found very professional. So then a couple of them said, um, you can detect chloroform, but you have to specifically look for it. So if they get, for example, a body in, where they think, that was a rape and a killing, and and they don't have any defense wounds or stuff like that, they looking for some sort, all kinds of drugs, including chloroform. Chloroform knocks you out, not like in the movies, where
It,
you're
it
unconscious
needs to
for,
be applied for a substantial time
yes,
and stay
uh,
there.
yes, where you are, I lost it. Where you are exposed to, being knocked out and getting, sorry to say that straight out, but getting raped and then killed or something. You have no defense wounds. They are looking for some sort of, these knockout drugs as well as chloroform. And they using, what is the English word for that stuff inside of your bones? I don't know
Inside
the
of your
English.
bones.
Yeah, inside of your bones, there's a substance like a, um, what is it? They pull it sometimes, and they can see some illnesses you might have.
I don't know. Someone will know in chat because we have geniuses in chat. Marrow. Marrow.
Marrow. Okay, thank
Yes.
you. I
Bone
learned
marrow.
stuff.
Unbelievable. Look at them. Look at them go.
Oh, I'm quite disappointed from you, Dave. You don't
I'm
know
so sorry. I was
that.
thinking about someone else's question.
Okay. However, they do tests on the inside of the bones, right? And this, he said it has to be applied constantly. So it will knock you out for a few seconds. And the more you apply, the longer you're out. Okay. So if chloroform gets in contact with your skin once, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't see it. Right. So you wouldn't have any rashes or stuff like that. But if you constantly, or even put your hand or finger in chloroform for a while, you would get a rash, and your skin would start to not melt, but with any kind of chemical. So my conclusion, and I mean, this is not a fact, and I'm not a medical expert of some sort, but of them saying that, um, I believe that those rashes or those chemical burns came from a tissue or some sort of uh, thing over the kid's head, maybe, right? So, and here again, I'm not making any conclusions or stating facts. This is just my thought process of what I have learned from these people. So then I was looking at the Casey Anthony case. And Dr. Spitz, my absolute favorite medical examiner, he states stuff just like it is. He absolutely destroys the DA on the stand when he says, and he did it right, because this brought me back of thinking about my talk with the medical examiner here in my town. And by the way, they also asked me, why do you want to know this? what are your plans and stuff like that, right? So, and I just said to them, well, I'm just came across an autopsy report, and I had some questions. So, but that just aside. So what he says on the stand is he destroys the DA's medical examiner, and she's a pretty famous one. And they only had bones of Kaylee, right? So what he says is, why didn't you open those bones? Why didn't you open the skull? And she said, well, I don't need to open the skull because it's just a fragment. And he's like, yeah, but how do you know that kid did not die of an overdose of chloroform? Because from the outside of the bone, you don't see anything, but you got to gotta open it and try to find some samples of marrow or anything that's left in that fragments of that bone to make a conclusion if that girl died from an overdose of chloroform. And that was what basically won that case, right? So yeah, that was my thought process. And then, you can access the Vella's autopsy report, and I'm gonna do a report on that anyway in my timeline later on. But yeah, that was just my thought process and the thought of chloroform in general. So that would explain her chemical burns, and that combined with her being in oil, it's just the same thing. When you have a rash and go in your bathtub or something like that, the rash will get worse and it will burn, kind of like, and it gets worse. So, and this is what I imagine happened here. Also, her cut, she had a little cut. I think that is from putting her into those tanks. Also, her injuries to her mouth. I mean, if somebody applies chloroform to you and, and you're not knocked out immediately, then yeah, you might wiggle your head. Of course, you want to get away. You want to get away. The oil can cause burns, but only if, there was some sort of rash beforehand. Yeah, that's basically my explanation. But don't take this as a fact. It's just my thought process.
I just want to say thank you to Lynn Church for a $20 donation to Tammy.
Oh, thank you. I did not see
Tammy. Sorry, to TJ, and Charlie Lynn. Thank you so much. And didn't NK sell a vehicle after the murder?
any answer.
Yes,
Thank
she sold
you.
a 4Runner, a white Toyota 4Runner.
What? Say that again, please.
Charlie Lynn, who gave you a $5 donation,
Thank you.
said, didn't NK sell a vehicle after the murder?
Yeah, I mean the truck was seen by witnesses.
Yep, the white.
And they
We're
were
talking about
not
the white
followed.
4Runner.
Yeah, and they were not followed up on.
4 witnesses saw that truck in the area, everyone, that SUV. 4 witnesses in the neighbourhood canvas saw that white SUV that morning. And
Not
none of
only
it
that, not only
was
that
followed up.
morning, one of the neighbors, I can't remember who said it, said that white vehicle or van or whatever they say was there a week prior. So if we that was Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
So
so a week
Tuesday,
prior,
the week prior, he went to North
he
Carolina.
was
But
in.
what if
It was
the
the
week?
day they got back.
No, they said the neighborhood canvas was on Tuesday,
Yeah, so a week
and
prior is the day
neighbors
they got
stated
back
the
from.
week prior. So on Tuesday, he went to North Carolina. No,
No, the week
the week
before.
before, right?
Yes, so
So
this
if
is the
that,
week he gets back. So the day before he gets back, he got back on the Wednesday, I think, the 8th.
yes,
Right? So Tuesday the 7th, he was, if that vehicle was there a week prior, it's whilst they were not home.
exactly. So what was going on in the house?
I wonder.
And they do have Vivint and everything, because like I told you guys in a previous live stream, they had his data from what we know, June. All his router logs since June and maybe earlier, but we don't know that. So the earliest I could find in the discovery was June, but I'm quite sure they had everything from 2017 probably. Excuse me a second, Dave.
No worries. Tracy M.G. Hernandez. Dave is sick. It sounds like to me. Yes, well, Dave is off work today. Not feeling too good. So I just thought I'd just let you know. I'll be all right. I'm a hard nut. Thanks, desired. I need something hot to drink. Yeah, when Tanya comes back, I'll go out and make myself a drink, I think. Yes, Laurie Carr. Didn't Betty see a grey truck that Monday morning with a camper shell? Oh, yes, she did. Whose truck was that? Well, in a little video that I created, Tanya helped me locate these trucks, might I add. In a little video that I created on my channel, where I've created a song. It's like my little theme. We won't run, we won't hide. In that little video, there are two images of that grey truck that you see. One without the camper shell, and one with the camper shell, and it's the same truck outside the same house at different times. And it's a smaller truck than Chris's. The exact same type of truck. And there are people all over YouTube at the moment that are mentioning the Ruzeks owned a grey truck. So I cannot confirm nor deny that. So it's something else for people to think about. Yes, Catherine C. It was a white SUV seen parked on the side of the road that night on the main road before you went to Chris's neighbourhood. Yes, around the back of Chris's. That is correct, Catherine. Yes, Mayor McCheese. Did you guys take care of them? Keep them
Take care
warm
of who?
until the end. That's exactly what Coda said to Chris. Did you guys take care of them?
Right. Yes, that's true. He says that.
Unbelievable.
And then he's snappy, like, they're always warm.
Yeah, can't believe that question was even posed to Chris. They knew more people were involved. And it's disgusting what they've done.
Yeah. It truly is. Oh, well, that was a nice little chat, wasn't it? We came from A to B to C to D.
Yeah.
They try to remove kids for safety.
Yeah. Donna
The rule
and Donna
sex.
Johnson keeps writing the same comment.
Donna,
Plural.
what?
No, I'm talking about plural, as in Coda saying guys, and we got Sandy saying evil people in court, and we've got Frank saying heartless woman. Yeah, everyone knew others were involved. Everyone knew, and they did nothing about it.
Yeah. And we have yet to learn what the bombshell information was.
Well, it could well be, like I said, I think it was somebody, it might have been you that mentioned it. The reason there was no messages on Chris's phone or ones that he's worried about is, and
because
somebody
they
wrote it in,
corresponded through email.
they could have been messaging through email, and that, as somebody said in my chat the other night, when I was talking about the messages that came through on Chris's work phone while he was sitting there on his own before Ronnie walked in the room and at his interrogation.
She definitely did not message him on his work phone because we have the logs.
Correct.
And
So let's just say it's an email.
The only message he ever sent or received was in June from somebody from his work, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, but then again, in the actual discovery, they state there's all these messages on Monday morning, the 13th, on his work phone, all of a sudden. But it's in the timeline, everything happening on item 40.
Right,
But there's no other messages on his phone for the entire case.
right.
But everything's happening on his work phone that morning. And the only thing that placed his personal phone there was that photo of the laptop screen, which we never ever got to see anyway.
First of all, we never got to see it, and second of all, he mixed up so much with item 40 and item 41 that I I don't even believe that this picture was sent or taken by his personal phone. I don't believe it.
And Lisa B. Yes, I'm wondering why Betty said Frank Sr. was there 3 weeks ago.
Did she say that?
Yes, she did. She was talking about Shanann. Betty was talking about Shanann's dad.
No, I think she said, I saw the dad a week ago.
No,
And
no,
then the
no, no, no,
officer,
no. A week ago, and then she talked about Shanann's dad after that.
and then she said, as far
Yes,
as I know, the officer asks, and when did you see them? And she said, well, approximately 3 or 4 weeks ago. Them referring to Shanann and Chris. This is how I understood it. I could be wrong, but
yes. Frank did fly to South North Carolina with Shanann. That is correct.
yeah, wasn't he there for when they went to San Diego or something?
He was there. Frank Sr. was babysitting the kids whilst they went to San Diego to visit Chris's friend, and they did that Thrive thing.
Okay,
And
that
then,
makes sense.
and then
That
when
makes
then
absolute sense.
all right,
Well,
and
then
then
Mr. Rusek was there during their San Diego trip, right?
correct,
And when they came back, Shanann flew together with her dad to North Carolina. So what Betty
correct.
says
But
3 or 4 weeks
it was
ago
6 weeks
makes
ago,
sense.
not 3 weeks.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Elizabeth I. Betty was saying the parents live there, saw him 3 weeks ago, as in talking about Frank Sr. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Sandy called the daycare that morning before she knew they were missing.
Mm. Don't get me started on that one, Laurie. We'll
Well,
be here all night.
the very first text message to Shanann, text message or call, I can't remember, was actually from Cassie.
Yes.
And Cassie called or messaged I can remember, NA asking her to go by the house because she has not heard of Shanann, which was unlikely. So at 8:55, NA sends her first text message this morning to Shanann.
Yep.
The school teachers, 3 of them, say that Mrs. Rusak called 3 times, once between 8 and 8:30, then around 10, and then around 11, right? If I
Oh
remember.
no, it was around 11:30, and then later in the afternoon.
Oh,
The, the,
11:30,
the
and then at
yeah,
3.
the one in the middle. That's the big one. When she calls herself Sandy Honorati, when she calls, and she also states, "Please do not tell anybody I called."
Did she say that? Don't tell
Yes,
anybody I called.
it's in the discovery.
Okay. And she said what was odd to me, she said, sorry for caring.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And then the phone call from Chris. The kids are not there, are they?
Yep.
Which freaked her out, the school teacher.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. It would have.
yeah, so this right there, I mean, if you don't know where your kids are, why would you ask the kids aren't there, are they? Really weird.
Oh,
Hmm.
oh, 2 hours. Yeah, well, I've
Okay.
got to head to the doctor's very soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So,
end this stream anyway now.
oh, okay.
Because we're going round in circles, more or less. And I don't wanna, your voice sounds horrible, and you
Thank
really
you.
should
That's what
go see a
everyone's telling
doctor.
me.
Yeah, you really should go see a doctor because, did you get your booster or something
No,
recently?
not yet.
Okay. Well,
That's great. I sound horrible. That's awesome. Thanks, everyone, for letting me know how good I sound. That's fantastic.
I'm just being honest. I just urge you to go see a doctor.
Yes.
That's all. All right, you guys. I've decided to do a little birthday special on my birthday. I did not want to go live, but I thought it would be nice. Just a little questions and answers about the case so we can chat. And don't forget to tune in on Sunday for the new documentary, part 2. Well, not new documentary, but part 2 of the documentary Into the Abyss. And you won't hear from me up until Sunday. I can promise you that because I'm way behind and Mock Boys is waiting for my files so he can get the voiceover ready. And yeah, if there are medical records sealed, red flag, yeah. But he did not seal the medical records, by the way. Chris had no say in this. And yeah, it's 1:05 in the morning. I probably can't sleep. But Dave, please go to the doctor.
I will. I
And
will.
you guys stay safe and healthy until Sunday. Bring all your friends and some popcorn. Why are you laughing at me?
Just stay safe until Sunday. Then you can die.
What? Stay safe?
You guys stay safe until Sunday, but after Sunday, it's a
We're all going to
Who
stay
says
safe.
Stay safe until Sunday, and but after Sunday you can die. No, this is not what I meant. Obviously not. Don't choke
Well, I
on
would
your
like to
coffee.
say a big thank you to the moderators here today. You have done a fantastic job. You always
Absolutely. They
do a
always
brilliant
do.
job.
Always.
And I really sincerely do want to thank them. And a special mention right now to Matty Willis. He let me know in chat that there were 420 here at one stage, which I think is absolutely outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you, you guys. Yeah, so stay healthy and safe, not only until Sunday, but all your life.
Yes.
Oh, God. He's gonna make fun of me now forever for saying that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. To cut this short, have a nice day. Have a nice evening. Have a good night, you guys. I love you all. Stay safe and definitely tune in Sunday. All right. Love ya. See you
Absolutely. See you
later.
later, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.
Bye.